Ladies and gentlemen, I need to update you on a very important shift that is now occurring in the market. I did a YouTube community poll 2 days ago, and I asked the question to my community, where is most of your portfolio right now? Is it in Bitcoin or is it in altcoins? Now, 60% of you said most of your money right now is in altcoins. I think that if you asked me this question 6 months ago, if you asked me the question, where should I put my money in crypto? I would have certainly said Bitcoin. But now we are approaching a period of time in which heavy portfolio allocations towards altcoins is becoming more and more valid of an investment decision. I'm going to tell you exactly why in this video. The market is changing, guys. Okay, so I'm going to tell you my portfolio structure. I'm going to tell you what the ideal portfolio structure is. I'm going to tell you what the market is doing right now, why it's changing, why it's shifting. Okay, let's explain it, right? Here we go. Here's the Bitcoin dominance chart. I've explained it many times in the past. For people who haven't heard about it before, Bitcoin dominance chart is a chart that measures the strength of Bitcoin in relation to altcoins as a percentage scale. So right now it's at 54%, meaning that 54% of the money in crypto as a whole is in Bitcoin, and the remaining 46% is in altcoins. So obviously, with this knowledge and with this chart in general, we can identify when Bitcoin is outperforming altcoins, and we can identify when altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin. When this chart moves upwards, that is synonymous with Bitcoin outperforming altcoins. Okay, so on a generalized scale, since the end of the last bear market, since September 2022, November 2022, Bitcoin has been outperforming altcoins on a generalized scale. Now, exceptions don't make the rule. Obviously, there's exceptions to that, but for the most part, Bitcoin's been doing much better than altcoins, okay? As per Bitcoin dominance going upwards. Now, what you generally see in cryptocurrency, I'm going to get into new information in a second for people who are bored by these kind of reminders of what these charts are. Just bear with me here. For people who are new, right? In bear markets, when cryptocurrency is going downwards, when people are selling their assets, they flock into Bitcoin for safety. They're not touching altcoins in a bear market, right? When altcoins are down 90%, they're not generally touching altcoins. They're touching Bitcoin. And we've seen this play out, right? So in the last bear market we saw, or two bear markets ago, I should say, in 2018, we saw Bitcoin dominance rising exponentially. We saw the exact same thing in the bear market we just had. And in bull markets, Bitcoin dominance drops exponentially. We saw the exact same thing in the bull market we had in 2021 and also in 2017, right? So when people are scared, when people are fearful, Bitcoin dominance rises because they flock to Bitcoin for safety. And when people are greedy, when people are euphoric, they flock into altcoins, and hence Bitcoin dominance drops. Now, what we are seeing right now, let's flip to a filled out chart. We're seeing something very interesting occur on Bitcoin dominance, okay? I think that if the top is not already in for Bitcoin dominance, it is close, okay? I don't think there's much higher for Bitcoin dominance to go. I think it could go as high as the top of this red box, okay, which would be 64% dominance, which actually is quite significantly higher. But for the most part here, I think the move for Bitcoin dominance is coming to an end on a macro scale. Okay, so let's discuss that, right? Why do I think that? So, and then I'll tell you what we can harvest from that and what we can structure our portfolios to look like based on that information, right? So, Bitcoin dominance generally drops in a bull market. We just established that before, but we can establish it a little bit further by looking at the halving and looking at the Bitcoin breaking or prior all-time highs. So the blue circles is when Bitcoin breaks prior all-time highs, and the halving is when Bitcoin obviously has the halving, right? So those are the yellow circles. So basically what you'll see on the screen right here is after both the halving and Bitcoin breaking all-time highs, that is when we see Bitcoin dominance start to tank. That happened in 2017. It happened here in 2020 as well. And guess what? We've just seen the halving, and we've also seen Bitcoin dominance break all-time highs. So if we're looking at this trend historically, we should be seeing Bitcoin dominance start to drop soon, if not already. Now, the only complicating factor that makes me think it could go a little bit higher, right, is because we've just broken this major yellow downtrending resistance line, which has been stemming backwards from 2016. It's basically an 8-year-long resistance line. We've just broken it, and upon the breakout, we saw a massive volume surge and a massive move upwards on Bitcoin dominance. So we could go a little bit higher macro here for Bitcoin dominance. We could go anywhere within this red box, I believe, but I don't think we will be breaking above that red box. I think for the most part, the conclusion we can make from this is that now is probably a good time to start phasing your high percentage Bitcoin portfolios, if you have them, into altcoins. I can't tell you what to do. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor. I can only tell you what I'm doing. Personally speaking, Right now, I'm about 65% in Bitcoin and around 35% in altcoins. I can tell you that over the last couple of weeks, I've lowered my Bitcoin portfolio allocation from around 75% to 65%. And I can tell you that I will continue to do that as I see more signs of Bitcoin dominance decreasing. But right now, I'm quite happy to be lowering the amount of Bitcoin I'm holding and raising the amount of altcoins I'm holding. Now, don't get me wrong. My first altcoin buys were back in late October 2023. So I very much caught the initial move upwards in altcoins we've seen. But as you see on Bitcoin dominance very clearly, on a generalized scale, Bitcoin has still been outperforming altcoins. And so I'm very happy to have held my Bitcoin for as long as I have. But I think right now, and especially over the last 2 weeks, but right now as I make this video, I am personally shifting out of Bitcoin and allocating quite heavily into altcoins, especially on this Bitcoin and crypto correction we're seeing. But even with that said, as I said before, I'm not 100% convinced the Bitcoin dominance top is in. I think it's very hard to be convinced of that. When I look at something like Ethereum BTC, now this is the Ethereum chart valued in BTC instead of USDT, okay? What we see is that this chart is in a vicious downwards trend, and it could go lower, meaning that Bitcoin dominance could go higher. But you see this downwards trend is actually a bullish structure. It's a descending channel formation. So although we could go lower, although this downwards trend could continue for longer, eventually it's going to break to the upside, and hence eventually Bitcoin dominance is going to fall. And the same can be said about Bitcoin dominance pushing up against this resistance zone. On a macro scale, yeah, it could go higher, but eventually we're going to reject from this resistance zone and we're going to enter an altcoin season, or at least that's the likely scenario based on the historical data. So although I'm not 100% convinced that right now exactly is the absolute top and we're going to go downwards only for here on Bitcoin dominance and we're going to see an altcoin season right now, I think on a macro scale, over the next quarter, this is the time in which shifting into altcoins is going to be very justifiable. So yeah, I think either the Bitcoin dominance top is in, or Bitcoin dominance will have one more significant move, and that will be the top. And that's why I'm not fully out of Bitcoin yet. I'm still actually 65% in Bitcoin, but I certainly am shifting bit by bit where I see it adequate. And as more evidence is gathered for this to be occurring, I'm shifting more and more into altcoins. And I'll tell you right now, by the end of this bull market, at the peak, I plan to be holding 0 Bitcoin, and I plan to be 100% in Ethereum and altcoins by the peak of the bull market. Obviously, I'll sell from there. But just to inform you, I don't plan to be holding any Bitcoin past when I deem it necessary. So right now I'm shifting out. I'm not out of it yet because I'm not fully convinced yet, but it is happening. So the market is changing, and it looks like most of you guys have already been aware of that. Again, 60% of you are in mostly in altcoins right now. I would actually say, not to criticize you, but I would actually say you're probably a little bit too early to the boat, because I assume that if you're 60% in altcoins right now, I assume you're probably 60% in 60% of you are probably in altcoins to start with. I think having Bitcoin in your portfolio for the first part of the bull market is a very necessary, very profitable thing to do. And I think I've played this bull market very, very well, and I've given you the way I've played it on this YouTube channel perfectly, and it's happened perfectly so far. But yeah, I mean, it's a good place to be right now. Perhaps, look, I'll tell you this right now. This video here is not a sign for you to sell every single Bitcoin you have. Again, that's not what I'm doing. It's incrementally start moving into altcoins, or at least that's what I'm doing personally. Again, I can't tell you what to do. This isn't financial advice. It's just the wording I use sometimes. But yeah, if we look at Total 3, for example, which is the total cryptocurrency market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, which gives us a very good view of what altcoins are doing, we can see that the altcoin market cap chart is very much copying the structure of the price cycle before we blew up for a euphoric bull market, right? What we see is that we had this bottoming formation, we had a rally, we had another drop downwards, so it kind of formed this W formation, and then we went upwards. We formed our first consolidation period. We went upwards again, second consolidation, then we blasted off to new all-time highs. And we can see it's kind of doing the same thing right now, right? Our bottom coming up for a little peak there, forming a W formation, coming up for our first consolidation, second consolidation. And if we copy what we did last time, we'll be blowing up to new all-time highs in euphoric bull market quite soon. Now, obviously, a lot of this analysis that I'm doing today is relying on historical data, but at the end of the day, historical data is the only thing we have. So we have to kind of rely on it to a certain extent. And if we see the invalidations coming through on the Bitcoin chart, like if we see Bitcoin dropping below 57K, dropping below 53K, then we can start to just abandon ship, basically. But right now, everything is still on track. Everything is still going to plan to a certain extent. And so, yes, I think we are seeing a dramatic shift in the market right now. And my movements right now are reflecting that. So I thought you should know it, and that's why I'm making this video. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Go ahead and check out the BitGet and BingX exchanges. BingX is a global exchange. You can sign up from anywhere in the world with a VPN. It's non-KYC. And then BitGet is anywhere in the world except for the USA. So take your pick. They're both very low in trading fees and both never been hacked before. And both these exchanges, with my referral links down below, you can get a 15% trading fee discount for life. So get on a good exchange and use my referral link for those rewards. You don't want to miss that kind of stuff, guys. You're going to be spending thousands of dollars in fees. So get on a good exchange. Then we've got Crypto Academy, Become a Trader 10-unit course. This is a bull market sale right here. Our educational course, we're putting it on bull market sale for a limited time, so you can take advantage of that while the bull market is popping and piping hot. And so you can kind of learn how to trade in time for the maximum amount of gains that you can make in this bull market. Obviously, it's all well and good learning how to trade in a bear market, but in the bull market, that's where you put your skills to the test, and that's what you can do right now. And then finally, the VIP group on Telegram, guys. Right now, we have trading results we just released a few days ago here. 77.51% win rate over 18 months of trading data. We release 3 to 5 trading plans per week. You can check that out. If you want altcoin trading plans on Telegram, you can do so. Trade altcoins with me. Go ahead, check out the information below. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.